there, everybody, it's me with another movie. This one's gonna be, I think everybody's gonna know this one is The Exorcist, the first one. Directed by William Friedkin, written by William Peter Blatty. Now, you've got Ellen Bernstein, you've got Chris McNeil, Max von Sydow. He's playing his father Mern. So Ellen Bernstein is Chris McNeil, sorry. Max von Sydow is Father Mern. Linda Blair is Reagan, and Jason Miller is Father Karras. Now, this movie starts out. I didn't see this movie for years now because personally I am afraid of watching this movie. I think it's very realistic, it's creepy, and it gives off a unsettling feeling, especially because you see the entire progress from a girl that's completely being obsessed and possessed by this demon Pazuzu, who in the beginning of the movie Father Mern finds at this excavation site in Egypt, because they're excavating a church which was not a regular church. It was a church honoring a demon named Pazuzu, and he sees the statue, the demon statue, and he finds a head, a small head of the demon statue. So now, if you've seen the second one, the Exorcist, the Heretic, I'm not gonna review that one. It's really bad. It begins with, Reagan doing something like a Sega or something, a game like Sega, and boom, 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 or Mario, we're here, boom, 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 boom. Very weird. Yeah, she's monitored by psychiatrists and and a father too. I don't know who, but it's weird. But in that movie, you can see a few things. It's basically one half is a prequel, and another half is a sequel. But you get a prequel, and then a prequel a little bit later on, when they're fighting the demon in Reagan's house, Reagan the demon. Okay, so Mern, and of course we've seen the prequels, The Exorcist the Beginning or Exorcist the Dominion. I like the beginning because there was much more gore. The demon looked more like the demon how Reagan looked. In Dominion it looked like a big baby. Yeah, it would look like a big bald baby. It looked like a bald baby, a man in a bald baby's head. Now, he said that he encountered this demon before. He says it in the first movie. He says it in the they let you know in the second movie that you see Mern, who's basically in an African camp, and one lady is in labor, but you see the eyes, and she says, "I am Pazuzu," and that's the way he knows the demon's name. But now let's go back to the first movie. Like I said, I'm scared as shit. And if you go back to watch the, which is kind of, I mean, it's kind of fucked up that people who were looking back in the 70s, who were looking at the movie, they just started to panic. Some people had a heart attack. MEs were in the theater halls. People got out and started to cry, and all this pandemonium happened while this movie was playing, because it felt so real, and that's the reason why I don't like to see it. It feels so real and so authentic and so creepy that for me, as a horror buff, because I've seen horror movies for 15 years now, have to say that The Exorcist is one of my top horror movies. If I have to say, like a at least a top 20 list, it's gonna be in there. But it's creepy. So I'm talking about the extended cut, not the theatrical version, because the extended cut has the fucked up things in there, you know, that I'm gonna save you for later. So yeah, Ellen Burstyn is an actress. Her director is Burke Dennings, which is an Irish guy but with a big nose, and Father Karras is the local priest, but his mom is sick and she's going to die, and he's sort of, you know, he's always jogging and doing some boxing, and Father Dyer is the one who always is being by his side when he has troubles of his faith and still believing in God, because he's losing his faith, and at some point the mom dies and it's a big shock for him. But then of course shit's happening in the McNeil house. Like at some point Reagan, they're having a party, and Carl is their butler, and Burke is an asshole. He's sitting there drinking his scotch, saying, "You fucking Nazi. How are you, spearman? Hitler. Go back where you came from, Neo SS." And he said, "I'm from Swiss." And he starts to fight him, and okay, they say, "You had enough, go home." And you know, it's a guy like that. He's an asshole when he's drinking, and even when he's not drinking, he's an asshole. But he brings in work for Ellen Burstyn, for Chris McNeil. Now, the last people that are having, they're doing the piano, they're singing, and then Reagan is standing there. "You're all gonna die tonight," and she pees on the rock. Now, I don't understand. You're all gonna die tonight. What? Nobody of those people died. Let's say not even in an article in a Gazette or something, but a newspaper. No, nobody died. So it's weird that she says that like that. If it was to Burke Dennings, I would get why, but yeah, she brings her above, and then crazier shit starts to happen. Apparently, there was a scene, okay, before the spider walk scene, where she basically, you know, walks out reverse, with her arms like this, and crawling up the stairs, and then puking out blood in front of her eyes. She was crawling around the staircase, but luckily they deleted that because she was crawling around in the second level of the staircase and such, and you see her having a lizard tongue, a CGI lizard tongue. Luckily they deleted that because that wasn't no, that spider walk though. That's fucking creepy. That's not in the theatrical version, I think. And you know, it's at some point she has to go somewhere, and she leaves Burke to babysit Reagan because she's sick. And she comes back, and then you got the most fucked up scene, in my opinion, of the entire movie. That is when she's entering, she hears so the lieutenant, what was his name? Lieutenant Kinderman is standing on her door, and she says that a Burke Dennings was found on the edge of the stairs with his head completely twisted around. Now, did he fall from your house, or who is living at that top window? She said, it's my daughter. Okay, can we look around? Not now, not now. Later? Yes, later. Yeah. So she hears, and then she goes upstairs. You see her with a crucifix. Fuck me, fuck me, fuck me. You see all the blood because that's a fucking crucifix that's going in her vagina. Then she throws the crucifix away, takes her mom's head and lick me, and slaps her against the wall. Carl and another handmaid wants to get in, but she throws a big closet against the door. She throws a smaller closet against Chris, and she's like seeing her, and then she does the completely twist of her head, and then you hear Burke Dennis. Then she's talking in Burke Dennings' voice. You know what your fucking bitch daughter did? She killed me and threw me out of that window. So that was fucking creepy. And then eventually she got out, and it's fucked up. And Carl bound her to the bed, and he says, "It's quiet now. It's quiet now. Not she's quiet now." Now at this point, she knows she can't go to the police, so she's going to the local church, Father Karras, and Father Karras is like, yeah, but you know, he's half a skeptic and already hard with his believing, and she convinces him because she lets her see the blue, like she takes off her glasses, and you see a big black eye, and he says, okay, I'm gonna visit you and see what she is. But most of the time it's just a disorder, a mental disorder, multiple disorders, or something like that, panic attacks, PTSD, but I'm gonna look at her. Then he comes to the house, and you hear so he's already looking up, and like, what the fuck? He goes in the door, and she greets him. Hello, Father Karras. I was waiting for you. And then she said, how do you know my name? I know everybody's name. even your mother, who's here in hell, rotting in hell, where she belongs. And then she says some things like, now fuck me, fuck me like a man, not a priest, fuck me. And those apparently, Michael, Jason Miller didn't want those scenes because he lost his mom and he didn't want to hear that. So they edited it in later so he didn't need to hear it. And the moment when he's saying, what do you want? And she pukes the pea soup. It was supposed to land on his chest, not in his face, so you can see the shock and disgust in his face. That was real. That was not played. That was real. And he goes. He and Father Dyer play a tape that she made, and apparently it wasn't Latin, but in reverse. And she said, "Watch out for the priest, Maron. So, okay, they find Father Maron. They're explaining it. It doesn't take long to convince him because he knows what's going on. Pazuzu is now in Washington, D.C. in this girl, right? And he's preparing himself. He's saying to Father Karras, don't let him get in your minds. He will do everything to get in your minds. And they're exercising, and then you get the famous line, the power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you. And they're both saying it. And she's like, her skin is staring, and she starts to float. And the power of Christ compels you. And then you see Karras' mom sitting on the bed, and Marin says, Karras, don't do it. Just beat it. She's the demon. He's playing with you. And then he said, oh, shit. And then he took him out because he had a hard time. So he said, listen. And then he said, why here? Why this girl? He said, a demon takes who he wants. If he feels that the girl was lonely or something, he will take this girl. It's not convicted it's not sitting in one place. It's basically roams the entire world, this demon. And then he said, I fought this demon before. And he doesn't say the name, but I think Reagan said the name. I am Pazuzu. And what was cool was you can see the demon, the real demon, when Reagan is in the hospital and she has this CAT scan. And she flickers her eyes. Her eyes are closed. You see a dark face with everything dark behind, and white pale face with green eyes and sharp teeth. Well, apparently that was Pazuzu. Now, apparently a few times in the movies, and I spotted once, you can see Pazuzu standing next to somebody in a fog-like state. And I saw one when Chris McNeil was standing in the kitchen. It was already at night, in the evening, and you see Pazuzu's the same face, and he evaporates. So he was already in the house, already. She was Reagan was completely possessed, especially that moment when she's saying fuck me" with the crucifix. She was completely gone from that point on. And then, you got that scene where Marin goes in alone and Karas thinks it's taking so long. He goes in and he finds Reagan sitting, curled up, not bounded anymore, and he's lying on the ground, pale white, and Karas is trying to revive him, and mouth to mouth, hitting his chest like this, and in the meantime, you've got her laughing like, and then he goes to the demon, he hits her, he takes the demon and says, take me, and it was such an anger, so well played. He really was angry and was desperate. He wanted to take, that the demon would take him. The demon plucked because he had a necklace and a crucifix, he plucked the necklace away, and he got in Karas, and you see those green eyes getting to Karas, and teeth being sharp, and no, and he jumps out of the window, basically dying the same way that Berg did, but he's still alive at the end of the stairs, barely. And Father Dyer was there because he was coming to the house. Kinderman was also coming to the house, the lieutenant, and Father Dyer is giving, Father Karras his last rites. So now the movie ends that Reagan hugs Father Dyer because she sees the crucifix. She knows that a man of faith rescued them. Now, I can already tell you, that's a spoiler, that when Marin got in the room alone, he couldn't handle the demon. He was too old, too weak, and she got off her bounds and she started to do this, and he had his heart in her hands, not really in her hands, but she could manipulate it and squeeze it, and he basically had a heart attack, and that's how he died. So that's the way how he died. So that's a little, so that you can see in the sequel. Also a little prequel. So, and like I said, if you've seen the prequels, the beginning or Dominion, you know that he fought Pazuzu once, and it is mentioned more in the sequel and in the third one, which a lot of people prefer over the first one. And I like the third one. It's a good horror mystery, more of a horror mystery, with Brad Dourif, who's super in this, really good in this movie. And apparently Father Karras never died, okay, because he was still alive at the end of the staircase, but he didn't die. He got, or he didn't die, or he died, and he got, his spirit went into the serial killer with Pazuzu in his body, and entered in the serial killer, and the serial killer was completely fucked up, and he became the new Pazuzu, but also Father Karras. So at times you see when he comes out of the shadow of Brad Riff, you see Father Karras' face, and then he goes back. So that was cool to see. So the third movie is especially is really good to see. If I have to recommend an Exorcist movie, the first one for sure, not the second one, the third one for sure. That creepy kill from the nurse when nobody's, it's like 5 minutes silence, and then you got somebody just in a silent way coming after her with hedge clippers. It's to behead her. That was frightening, and I would prefer the beginning with I think it's Max from who was the actor's name? Just did it. I know his son plays it, Pennywise. His other son played the Viking vampire in True Blood. Um, I can't remember his family name. I used to know every name in the book of all the actors. Nowadays, it's Jesus Christ. In any case, this movie is really good. It's a challenge to watch if you are sensitive to if you're sensitive to see a horror movie that feels real, then maybe stay away from this one because it feels real, it feels authentic, it feels every step of the way is taken. Her complete medical check, nothing comes out of that. Then, of course, the religious check, and there starts the process of getting rid of this disease, this demon. And yeah, I understand that people, I wouldn't run out the cinema uh, halls, but I can understand that back in the 70s, people were afraid as hell. Uh, I remember my father went to see it, and then me was standing in the end of the hall because people were fainting even here in my country. So it was known for doing that, and I didn't see the new Exorcist. Was I'm not sure with the two girls being next. Nah, that seems too. How shall I say? It's milked out to me. So I'm probably not gonna see that. And Bernstein came for he. I heard she came back. She got a enormous check, and what I gathered was she gets killed in like 5 minutes or something like that. And so no, I personally don't prefer seeing that. But the first one, it left a real scar for me that I like it, but I do not like seeing it. Fucked up, right? I'm so creeped out personally that I can't see it. So that's why I didn't see it for years. But you know, it's a good movie. It's great. The acting is superb. There's not nobody being male acting or something. Everybody from Button Kinderman to Burke Dennings to Chris McNeil, Ellen Bernstein, Max von Sydow, Father, Linda Blair, Jason Miller, all these actors, Carl, the butler, these are all just, mwah. I mean, just great. So it's a recommendation for me, but be careful, because maybe Pazuzu is closer than you